MSPs, should you put your pricing on your website? Now, this question comes up a lot, and I'm going to attempt to answer it in this video with three things. So first, I'm going to paint a picture of the pros and cons for it. The second thing, I'm going to give you my opinion. And then the third thing I'm going to show you is an example of what I've done on my own website. There's a back and forth in regards to this argument. So some people like the clarity, having your pricing up front and center makes a lot of sense. People say it's being clear and it's being transparent about your business and how you operate, having the price per user and maybe having a few packages on your website, depending like a sort of standard gold and platinum package. It makes a lot of sense for a lot of people. And you'll find most SaaS web services, they'll clearly show you your pricing. However, we are not SaaS-based businesses. We are service-based businesses. And usually it's not just click the button to buy my product. It's a little bit different when it comes to MSP sales. Certainly for me, like my story, like my experience of doing MSP sales, now this is going back 10 plus years ago, and I'm probably not the greatest salesperson, but it took me 6 months to sell, and it was mainly referral based sales. It was nothing to do with what was on the website. So it was kind of like out the door. But I think in that process, what I learned was that disclosing the price right up front, certainly for me, would have been a bad idea. There's a few reasons for that. The first one is like, if there is someone checking out your website and is maybe interested in your managed IT services, it could put them off buying because they might balk at the pricing. I know some MSPs are charging between $300 to $600 per user. Now, clearly, that price is a little bit of a sales process. It's not just a case of having it as an option on your website. So, based on that part of the market, that maybe the higher end, the more premium side of the market, you want to basically not include your pricing. That would be my suggestion because it's going to put off a lot of people. However, there is a counter argument, and this comes to like what I do in marketing is like, well, that's fine. That will put off a lot of people, and it means that people that are actually interested are the ones that are actually going to convert on the website and click through. So you're just going to filter out all the junk and business you didn't really want to do it in business with, right? Anyway, so that's kind of like one piece of logic and one argument. And I see both sides of this. Like I agree with both sides of this argument. For me, maybe it would be something like, I don't know, and maybe having like an example pricing. So it wouldn't be, and there'd be like a little asterisk beside the price per user. So it'd be something like $33 per user per month. And it'd be a little star there. So there's like, that's like just an example. It's not actually what we're going to charge you. We're going to charge you a lot more. We might charge you 10 times more. And that's where you can roll out a sales process. So the pricing actually might be used on the website to get people in. They go, oh, that's nice and cheap. Again, there's an argument here. Do you want those cheap tire kickers as clients? If you put a low cost ticket price on your website, it's going to attract a certain type of business owner. We probably don't want them. That would be my argument. So there's good and bad things on both sides, and it really depends. And it's not just on like your costs of running business and how much you actually charge. It really depends on what your sales process is. What does that look like? And big question, do you actually have a sales process? Because if you don't, then I wouldn't be starting with pricing. I'd be trying to fix the sales process first. Okay, so that's like, we haven't actually got any further forward. I've been speaking for the last 3 or 4 minutes now. Okay, we're still in an argument here on should you show pricing or not. So let me go into my opinion. This was the second sort of bullet in my intro, and that is based on my experience. Definitely not. Okay, you definitely don't want to show your pricing on your website, and it's because you want the opportunity to speak to every lead. Okay, they might not be ready to buy now, and the price might just immediately put them off. Okay. The other item here is when I was selling managed IT services, it wasn't a fixed cost per client. We had a range of prices. Whether it was a smaller business and we didn't really want them, like it was going to be too much hard work, we would quote them, you know, more money. It would cost them more money. And that was basically just to send them on their way to one of our competitors because we know that that would waste the competitor's time. However, if it was a really big client and there was a lot of great opportunities in project work, and just like the fact that we'd be working with this client from a branding perspective, we might actually quote them as a loss leader. We'd maybe just be breaking even potentially on the managed services agreement, but we knew there was a bigger piece. There's a more of a strategy around that. So a lot depends on so this sliding scale. So because I had a sliding scale when I was doing MSP sales, I definitely wouldn't have a price on there. And from the desperate days of not having marketing and not doing ads, that's literally I didn't do any of that stuff when I was an MSP or when I worked for an MSP. I needed to speak to every lead. If you're in the position though, and if you're maybe part of our group here on school, the links below, and you're getting leads in all the time, having a price makes a lot of sense because you can filter out the junk and also it basically saves you a lot of time. Okay. So it depends, but I would suggest if you don't have a consistent lead flow from your website using ads, if you're not following our group, then remove the price from your website and don't go down them. Now, onto the third piece, the example. I have a consistent flow of leads for my business. Now, my business helps MSPs. I help MSPs run ads from basically the click to getting the client in the whole process. My specialty is in getting the leads at the very start, but I show MSPs how to go from getting those clicks on their ads and helping turning them into actual sales appointments in the diary. So my business is going to be different. So the example I'm going to show you on the screen is my pricing table. Okay. So this is how I have it set up. And I have prices because I'm in a privileged position of having a lead flow between 50 to 100 leads every month coming to my business. So this is like, it's on school, the URL is school.com/MSP. And I'll take you to it's kind of like the front page before you can join the community. As part of it, there is a 7-day free trial. This is not an advertisement. This is just an example I'm showing you. But if we go onto the URL, so like when you click the join button, it will take you to a few options. And this is by pricing. So on the left, we've got here $49 a month with a 7-day free trial. It lists out all of the different things that you get as part of that $49 a month with the 7-day free trial. What we're trying to do here from a marketing perspective is we don't actually want people clicking those higher price tiers. Okay. That's why there's more features on this first one. If I had the option, I should probably put in here the most popular option. We want to move people to that option because certainly from my perspective, we want to warm up the lead. So they're not going to be ready. They're potentially not ready. They don't know who I am. They've just seen my ad. So they're not going to go and spend, $1,497 a month or a year. Okay. So we really want to put people over to this lower ticket item, the foot in the door. So think about it from your perspective. What would your foot in the door be for your IT business, for your MSP? Would it be a cybersecurity audit, like a gap analysis of where there's maybe security holes in the business? Would it be a network assessment? Looking at the current incumbent MSP and all the bad work that they're doing? Or would it be something a little bit more bleeding edge, like an AI maturity assessment? Okay. Charge for it. Why not? Because from a marketing perspective, this is going to help you filter out the tire kickers and the people that weren't really going to do business with you anyway. They were just looking for a price. So I would suggest that you charge upfront for a little piece of work. This is almost like a pre-qualifier. You're actually getting paid to write the proposal. So you think about it from the perspective of all of the quotes that you've done that have basically landed in people's inboxes. You followed up with these people, and I know this happened. This used to happen to me all the time, and it went nowhere. You got ghosted. It's completely different if you charge someone to write the proposal, to write the quote. So the foot in the door methodology is maybe a lead magnet on your website or on your landing page with a little low cost $49 or $200. Hey, it might even be $1,000. A foot in the door. And this is what we'll do for you. Okay. So that's my offer here on this pricing table. And the other options that I've got like a taster, like I guess you could call it like a pilot program. So we obviously want to attract in businesses, MSPs that are looking to get their marketing managed. So having that foot in the door, that's what I would suggest as opposed to pricing. And I would charge for that foot in the door because as I mentioned, it's going to save you a lot of time and it's going to filter out the tire kickers and the cheap clients that just want a good price. Okay. So that's my suggestion. Let me just go back to the screen here. There we go. And if you are wanting to check out the school group, well, the link should be below. Hope you found this video useful. Hopefully I've given you some ideas. And hey, hit the comment below. I would love to see your website and what your offer is, what your foot in the door is, or if you have listened to none of this advice and do have a pricing table on your website, I would love to see what those prices are. Put your URL in below. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy.